This is for theoretical and entertainment. So I seen this guy pop up on my For You page, and he was talking about why they don't show Caucasia as a country anymore versus a region. And when I heard this, I had to think to myself, I've never heard of Caucasia. And he was asking, why would they try to hide this area? What could they be hiding? And so that threw me down a rabbit hole. Now you guys must go down this rabbit hole with me because I got some information on the matter. And before I start, I just want to say thank you to those that was rocking with me from the start. I never would expect to hit over 100,000 followers and making history cool and nothing but positive feedback. I'm humbled. Now, I came across this book, Caucasia, and it's a book that was published in the 1920s. And this book talks about the landscaping as well as the people who dwelled within this area. And so as I'm going down this rabbit hole collecting information, you start to come across different languages like Latin, German, Spanish, but not English. And so I'm starting to realize that when you use your search engines and you're using English, it caps the information that it gives you because it's English. These words in a different language mean much more and hold much more. So when you start to type these Latin and German words into your Google search, it looks a lot different. And so this is where the rabbit hole gets deep. When you realize, okay, Caucasia, Caucasians, Caucasus Mountains, I get it, all in the same area. But when you type in the Latin word for the Black Sea, underwater cities start to pop up. Atlantis may not be the only underwater city. The Black Sea harbors an underwater city in the past. Archaeologists have found artifacts, coins, cities in the Black Sea. More specifically, the ancient city of Accra was a beautiful place. Underwater archaeologists have discovered several of the ancient city's ruins, defensive walls, houses, and mysterious towers, which I'm sure that mysterious tower is a pyramid, but that's for a whole nother video. If they knew in the past that there were underwater cities, which means there were beings that lived underwater that had the conscious mind to be able to create wonderful art underwater. This is the reason why they were telling us about UAPs coming out of the waters, because the portals in the water is what's connecting us to that higher level technology. And I'm going to take it a step further. Hear me out. When you have kids and they form in the woman's stomach, that woman guides that spirit from the waters above to this realm. So when the water breaks, that's heavenly water letting you know that the transport from heaven to earth is completed. This child is technically breathing another form of water before you cut its umbilical cord. We have to understand that we are 80-90% water. When they say make man in our image, that was Satan. Satan is a legion. Satan is multiple. There's more than one Satan, and they work together. And so Satan and his fallen angels or fallen gods helped cover this world and help cover the spirit. That spirit, I believe, is water. They covered our water with the skin to hide who we really are. And I think our soul inside of us is pure water. When we die and our soul is released, the water from our body is released. And seeing as though water is versatile and all-knowing, what if life, in a sense, is water? The water that we see could be life outside the body in its purest form. And I think before we dropped from heaven, we were in this water form, closely connected to God through the water, through the knowledge tree that's below the earth, right? But it's still water above, water below. I think it was a reverse where we started off in the water. We lost that connection from God. We fell, but down is up and up is down. So when they fell from The Most High, in a sense, they went up, right? Because they had to go down in order to come up, since there is a firmament. And so what I'm trying to say is, this is the reason why we have advanced technology of pyramids that can align with the stars, is because pre-flood, I think our world was already underwater, and the flood was the release of that water. And so if we were a part of the water, and let's say this whole dome was filled all the way to the top, this could be why pyramids, which are free energy generators, these pyramids are lined up perfectly to the stars to siphon the energy from them. What if they were underwater already and they were able to swim up all the way and create these pyramids underwater that lined up with the stars, because they can easily swim up to it on a higher level consciousness? This is why technology in the past was far more advanced, is because the water connected both heaven and earth. As above, so below. So the knowledge that was in heaven was easily obtainable for those down here. And so that tie was severed when we fell from grace. And when the flood came, the flood moved the waters. And so that higher level of consciousness that we had from the water, from being a part of the water, we lost that connection. Just like the movie Aquaman. Aquaman was trying to tell you how these hybrids left the water and made it with the men. He was a hybrid, half human, half whatever. But aliens that they try to say, right, are coming out of the waters because the water is a portal leading to many different worlds, and all those worlds are connected with the water. I'm pretty sure we can't fathom a life in water, breathing water. Black Panther 2 told you guys, gave you a glimpse of an underwater higher technology realm that's hidden from the surface world. Story, man came in the fifth, sixth day, while water was created on the first day. We read the book of Enoch, where he took the light in the dark and swished it around and made it thick. They describe how he creates water. But these kids' movies tell us more than what we realize. You see, in this movie, if y'all can remember, this reptilian boy, every time he pops out of the water, though, he looks like a human being. And so now we have to really look back at this information. Now we have to understand that Ukraine, the Caucasus Mountains, all of this is together. Ukraine is where they clone cattle. So cloning technology, right? This technology could have potentially came from the water. Satan's domain is in the water. This is why Jesus walked on water. This was to show that he was over the creator God of earth, so to speak, which is Satan. And if you need more on that backstory, this is the apocalypse of Adam that you could do that deep dive in. And I can save that for another video. But the orphan trains, as well as the Holocaust, where they were talking about incubators on these orphan trains that hatched eggs that they grew and groomed into humans. I also stated that Black people in the Spanish are not considered humans because the word human is a sea monster. But when you look at it in the Latin word, in the genus, the Homo sapien, right? A Homo sapien is a primate, is a monkey. And this monkey evolved, right? But they always say that before the monkey evolved, that it came from the sea. When it jumps out of the water, then it had to evolve from the stages of a primate to get to a human. You see where I'm going? So if Caucasia started in the water, what if these nukes that they were hitting the water with, what if they were destroying the underwater cities so that way they can hide the technology and hide the origin story of where Caucasians and other beings could have potentially came from? Because most marine animals lay eggs. And so if these orphan trains had eggs that they hatched into people, the cloning comes from Ukraine, comes from that area, the Caucasus Mountains, the water is there. What if they came out of the water, walked through the Caucasus Mountains? Because their origin doesn't just come from the Caucasus. You can't just pop up in the mountains. The water is right there. But what if they are destroying these underwater cities so people won't realize that there's life down there that's more technology advanced than ours up here?